$150,500, and over here $125,000. So if you add those together, that's a pretty decent income to gain by turning someone into us who has an over-encumbered property, or is in foreclosure, or just doesn't want to go through with this over-encumbered loan that they have on property. No catches, no tricks, no gimmicks, no charges. The only charge involved is that $79.95, and it can either come from your client, or it can come from our investors, or it can come from you if you are an investor, and that's what we do. Now, let me go back here. I want to just give you so you can write this down. Nothing to sell you, because we don't care. We're doing pretty well financially, so we don't want to bug you with stuff. Oh, wait, I don't know. Let me give you my phone number. If you want to write it down. Don't write it down on that sheet. The company is NARSCOR, N-A-R-S-C-O-R. There's a bunch of you not writing anything down. Are you crazy?
A little louder. NARSCOR?
It's NARSCOR, N-A-R-S-C-O-R, LLC. And that stands for North American Realty Services, which is our consulting company or other aspects of our business, land trusts and short sales and what have you. The short sale business is totally separate from anything else we do, because I don't believe in it.
Here he is in the magazine too, by the way.
Take a look at the magazine on page
45.
Page 45. Thank you. That's an article that I wrote on land trust, so it doesn't talk about.
It's also online?
It's also online on our website, and if you Google Realty 411 or Real Estate Wealth, you'll have access to the magazine. We're on about 16 different websites. So all you have to do is Google us, and you will have access to our back issues as well as our current issue.
Now, I'm going to finish up with this, and I'm sorry to keep you guys as long as I did, but to most people that we talk to, this is one of the most important parts of their lives right now, saving their home. If you want us to do it for you or for your clients, we've come across in a very, very long time. Because if you're one of our members who do this, you're going to end up with a whole bunch of profit. And like I said, it takes about 9 months to a year to get one of these completed. And you don't have any duties or responsibilities other than reminding your client that it's time to go to a court hearing.
Hey, Bill?
Yes.
Could you give your phone number nice and loud just before you step off?
Okay, phone number, nice and loud, would be, and this is the expensive part. Why? Because I have to pay for your call. It's 1-800-409, is that loud enough? 3444.
There you go.
That's 1-800-409-3444. And you can give me with extension 150. And you give Gail with another extension. I don't know what it is.
Customer support, number 1, or go to accounting,
Customer support.
or just ask anybody to go find me.
Rather than messing with that menu, just remember 150 and you come straight to me and I don't have to mess around with going through the menu to talk to you. So if you're interested in any part of what we did for this call, but read the article here in the magazine, and that'll tell you another aspect of our business that's also pretty fantastic. And I wish I had told you some jokes, but I'd have you laughing and crazy. You guys are just too serious. Especially that guy right there. Too serious. Now, any questions?
Bill,
Yes.
we have a hard time hearing over here. Tell us your number one more time, your 800 number.
You
409.
guys are having a hard time hearing me?
The noise from downstairs.
Oh,
There's a
I'm
lot of
sorry.
noise in there.
Then you missed a lot. Do you have a business card?
409-3444. 1-800-409-3444.
Now, you'll have to forgive my wife. She never talks about
Just try an extension. If you want to talk about loan amelioration, they'll pick it up more than likely. Extension 4. But Bill's private extension is 150. You know, I don't have
does have the toll-free
Website.
number and the
Oh, there you go,
website
and the fax line.
and the fax line. Page 45 and 46.
And 46. And are there any other questions?
No more questions?
Okay, well, next we have Richard Barrett. Now, Richard is joining us from the Bay Area. His expertise is out-of-state investing. Currently, he has properties in the Houston market, which Texas is a great market. My husband and I own property in Texas. We're national investors. We invest out-of-state. The reason we do that is because, well, a few years back, California was really untouchable. The prices were so crazy, so we had no choice but to go out-of-state. Now, I still invest out-of-state too. Why do I do it? For diversification. I don't want all my properties in a state where we can have the big one at any time and we have no earthquake insurance.
Right.
So diversification is very important, and I do believe in investing out of state. I'd like to introduce Richard. He is the principal of RBS Homes. He's a graduate of Bryce University. Now, Richard founded 2 technology companies and currently serves on the boards of several emerging companies. Richard, along with his partner Ben, who is based in Texas, they first started investing together in 1982. Since then, Richard and Ben have continued to acquire investment property in Texas and also in California. Now, Richard's goal is to help every investor build a secure financial future using investment properties as a significant part of their total portfolio. So joining us from the Bay Area, Richard Barrett.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your staying here, and I hope we'll be educational, entertaining. Telephone numbers are in the magazine. They're on the screen. They're on the brochures that Linda is passing out. So a lot of ways to get in touch with me. We're going to cover 3 different types of investments today. And so the first one, how many people here have money market accounts, T-bills? And it's a great place to put money while you need it. What return are you getting on your money market account of your T-bills?
2001.
If it's a money market, you're getting 0.02%. T-bills, we'll give credit and say 3%. Okay, 3%. Now, would you say a T-bill is a high-risk or a low-risk investment?
Low?
Near term, it's low. You're probably not going to lose any principal. Long term, high-risk or low-risk?
Higher.
Yeah, you bet it's high-risk because you'll starve to death receiving 3% with inflation running at about 7 to 8% now. So we look at risk both a near term and a short term. We would like to minimize both. The other 2 investments we'll be looking at, a rent house in Houston. Any guess what your return would be on a rent house in Houston? 12%. Close, close.
10?
It turns out that properties we're going to look at today will yield about 25% cash on cash. This is an existing property in a great neighborhood. So we score it low, and obviously we'll go through the details of this, so you don't have to trust me on this yet. One more investment we're going to look at is a new build motel in California. And if you're going to do a new build, what sort of return would you expect? Well, you're close. We'll take that, but we'll do a little bit better. This is pretty impressive. It is a new build, so we score it as a medium risk. And again, we'll go through this and you'll understand it. And then we'll come back at the end. There will be a test, and you make your own scoring here. You'll get a blank score sheet. All right, so let's talk about T-bills. As we said, T-bills are not investments. They're places to put your cash safely while you're waiting. There are 3 investment vampires that just love to eat up T-bills. And can anybody guess what the 3 investment vampires are? Inflation's a great one. Another one,
Up and down markets?
volatility, yes, and that leads to transactions. Bill talked about one of the other ones, taxes. So we'll go through quickly. Taxes. And if you think about your forecast, we know which way taxes are going. Inflation. We'll take a vote and see which way inflation is going, right? Lastly, transaction costs eat you alive. I think Bill illustrated some of the challenges with transaction costs. They're real and they're very expensive. So those are the investment vampires. Let's look at each one right quickly. Taxes. It turns out we're here. This is the second lowest taxes have been since Eisenhower's day. I'm not going to ask how many people remember Eisenhower. I'd have to raise my hand. It would be embarrassing. I gave a presentation to a younger group. Had no idea who Eisenhower was. so it was an education for me. Anyhow, his claim to fame was a 90% top marginal federal tax rate. We're sitting at about 38% now. Is there any doubts? How many people think it's going up? Raise your hands. Yeah, it should be unanimous. The government's already told us the answer on that one. Inflation, very interesting. We got to do a little short segue here. What is the definition of inflation? Milton Friedman had a great one. Too much money chasing too few goods. And now, what entities create inflation? There's only one kind of entity that can create inflation, and that's the one that prints the money, right? Well, this is the government. This is their, this is actual deficits, and these are annual deficits. These are not cumulative. But it gives you a sense. How does the government pay for this? And they print money. So if that's the future of deficits, we can guess that the Federal Reserve is going to buy all the green ink in the world. Real quick, is it a spending problem or is it an income problem for the government? Because if you got a deficit, you can get there two ways, right?
Spending?
Excellent. So, this goes back to 62, and you can see, income, spending did okay, and just got decoupled in the past couple of years. So now we're going to see how that has been paid for. Inflation. This is a history of inflation for it was for the UK, and somebody was back here measuring how many beaver pelts got traded for axe handles. And I have no idea how they did it, but it's really stunning that for this many years, there wasn't much inflation. And the reason is money was something really old-fashioned. Bill Gatt mentioned it. Gold, silver, precious metals. And so it's hard to print precious metals. It's hard to add too much more precious metals to the mix. Now, the funny thing is, we did see a little bit of inflation here. That's exactly what happened. You remember all the Spanish galleons came over to South America and loaded up all the gold from the Incas? Well, when they took it home, what happened? A lot of extra money, but did they increase productive capacity? No. So it was, again, too much money chasing too few goods, and we see New World gold and silver actually caused inflation. But then, what the hell happened over here? That's pretty amazing, huh? Well, two dates. In 1948 or 51, there was the Bretton Woods Conference. Does anybody here know what happened at Bretton Woods? Bingo! All the governments got together and said, we don't like this gold linkage because we like to print free money. And so Bretton Woods, all the countries got together and said, we're going to stick with the U.S. The U.S. will be the only currency tied to gold. And then in 1971, what happened? Yeah, who was the favorite president who clipped that link? Nixon said, no more of this $35 an ounce exchangeability. So in 71, which was only 40 years ago, we have been running this unusual experiment where money has no tether to anything real. The only thing, if you read your dollar bill, it doesn't say, exchangeable in gold. It now says, full faith and credit of the U.S. government. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands on that. But, we don't need a show of hands because we can see the picture of what's happening. Governments, they're made up of people, and unfortunately we have, we all have flaws. And the the governments, because they can print money for free, that's how this flaw shows up. So, long and short, anybody guess inflation's going down?
No.
How many people voting for inflation going up? Yeah. Well, you hit the nail on the head there. Quick question. What is the inflation?